All right, so this is the Guys with Beards podcast. I'm Sean.
Bilot.
David.
Kyle.
And Alex.
And we're going to talk about the era of the Wii, the PS3, and the Xbox 360. And this is honestly one of my favorite eras of video games.
Which, I mean, honestly wasn't too long ago. I mean, the PS3 stuff just got discontinued in Japan in 2017.
And the Wii
That was-
just had the Just Dance game released.
Oh my God.
Really? A
Yeah.
game just
Okay,
got
well-
released for the Wii?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
like,
but-
it's like the last game.
Just Dance is kind of a different monster, honestly. That's a series that's in Japan in arcades on top of being released like consistently for almost every like different console platform. It's insane.
Well, I've never
Ubisoft.
really played it.
Besides
much.
Switch, obviously, but I mean, for some reason I think like one's coming to Switch or something, but I don't think it is.
The Just Dance, like
Yeah,
one of the
it's
first games. for the
invading
Switch.
every platform. It's inevitable.
But anyway, let's focus on the time when the Wii was in its glory days, when the 360 was in its glory days, and when the PS3 was in its glory days.
I mean, I remember getting the PS3 when it came out initially because my dad won it at a raffle. I remember coming back from YMCA camp, and he's like, "All right, well, the PS3 you've been seeing on TV." I was like, "Oh, I've been hearing about it," but I was just a dumb little kid, and I was like, my dad really didn't let me play anything besides PS2
So
when I was
what
young.
What was like the first PS3 memorable game you remember?
Honestly, he didn't let me play it for a little bit, but the first game I played on there was Resistance.
Which one?
The first one, very first one.
The first Resistance.
Yeah. I remember playing it with my brother, and we like snuck game time in every now and then because it was rated M, and I really wasn't allowed to play that. But like, it was like world changing for me. I mean, I had never played anything like it in my life. Even on the PS2, it was completely different.
Resistance is a pretty fun game. I wouldn't rate it an excellent game.
No, they're not excellent.
It gets the job done for the PS3.
Resistance was one of the games that had 48 players online.
Okay, I don't think online came until the second game. Well, actually, no, it was on the first one.
Yeah, it was it was a huge multiplayer game.
I mean, it's because they marketed it as one of like the first games they were promoting with the PS3 was like this really hardcore like military alien shooter that like everybody at the time. I mean, that was what the fad was. It was like
Halo.
military shooters. It was when Call of Duty was in its prime.
In the wake of Halo.
Yeah, of course,
All at the
exactly.
same time.
That whole era kicked off all these little weird side games like Resistance. That I mean, honestly, Resistance had 3 games. It did really well.
I'll say though, right off the bat, I think Halo 3 is probably one of the greatest games of that era.
I have to agree, absolutely. I mean,
we'll get there. I mean,
I'm
come on,
just
give
saying,
the
though. I'm just saying though, the PS3 was
foreshadowing this podcast. Anyways,
it was looking after it. But yeah, the PS3 did have its games for it, but I think the strength of the PS3 was the single player games.
oh, of course. I mean, think of like games like God of War, Little Big Planet.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
Little Big Planet 2.
Amazing.
Countless hours spent on that game.
I mean, I think all the really fun little like indie creative games like Sound Shapes. I mean, like all those tiny like sound games are all compacted onto the PS3, like Journey.
Oh.
I mean, these are so like super artistic games that like Sony took steps with
some of the
to
best
just like
music.
go out on a limb and try them out, and they made a lot of money for Sony.
Yeah.
Those licenses made huge amounts of money.
A lot of great single-player games, for sure, on the PS3, like Uncharted, God of War.
Oh my God, yes.
That's how I got into it. It was the first single player game I did was Uncharted, was at my house. And like, just a little backstory of my PS3 experiences, right? It was the last system of that era that I got. And it was
For me too. Me too.
And
I was alone.
So
Yeah, he was the one guy who owned the PS3.
So but the first like playable experience I did was with Bilot. And I made a red guard named Shaq on
man.
Skyrim and
Yeah,
deleted his profile. And now he hates Skyrim.
I got Skyrim the Christmas after it came out, whenever that was. And I remember bringing it over to our buddy Caleb's house. And I go into the other room and try to show everybody my character that's a little bit farther than the ones they just made, and I can't find it.
It wasn't my fault. It was.
Too many characters have been lost to things like
If I
that.
recall, Skyrim it was the worst on the PS3.
I think it sold the lowest amount on the PS3 at the time.
Like the PS3, for some reason, there was like some glitches that the PS3
Oh,
version
it had a
over
ton
the
of problems
Skyrim.
at launch.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Like the 360 was the preferable way to play. I mean, PC was the best way to play at that time.
Honestly, I think it took a couple months to even like be like really playable on the PS3. I remember having so many problems the first time I played it.
It was still the first experience to Skyrim that I had, and that game obviously changed me. Right?
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I know. But when I first got my PS3, it was actually as a gift from the Afikomen from
oh my God.
Passover, and my dad brought it home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to play this game. Or I play the system, and the first game I played on it was Black Ops. And one thing I noticed, and don't get mad, that Sony, like the PlayStation 3 people were much worse at Call of Duty than the Xbox 360 people.
I don't know if I.
When I played on Xbox 360 and got my ass whooped.
Controversial statement.
I know. I got my ass whooped, but then I went to PS3 and I started kicking some butt. Right, and it felt so good.
I want to talk about the social environment on the PS3 is without a doubt definitely weaker.
Oh,
than
absolutely.
The social
I remember
aspect on the 360.
Back when PlayStation Online was free and all that before the PlayStation 4, I mean, there really wasn't even that much interaction. I think I had like maybe 3 or 4 friends I actually played with, and like I almost knew nobody that I would play consistently
on
with.
Xbox 360 on live, like with Black Ops, you had people
Oh, of
making
course.
clans. You had
and
party
the biggest thing was
chat.
voice chat.
Yeah, you had voice chat and you had
And that
party
didn't come in
chat.
until like it wasn't promoted well, I think, for the PS3.
Going back to Skyrim, I remember on the 360 playing Skyrim and talking to other people on party chat that were playing Skyrim at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was a cool little experience that the PS3 kind of lacked.
I met Sean through party chat on Xbox.
And you didn't even own an Xbox.
And I didn't have an Xbox. Couch co-op.
But
I learned his tag before his name.
Yeah.
but party chat was honestly a defining feature of the 360.
That's something that wasn't present on PS3.
That's
for sure.
definitely a weakness. Is like the multiplayer aspect was PS3.
Yeah.
However, one thing it did really well, and this is the thing that I've been saving about the PS3 that the Wii U and the Switch did, you could hook up 8 controllers to a PS3.
That's true.
That
Yep.
is
It started using. That's when Bluetooth started being used for
Yes.
controllers
But
and things
how
like
often
that.
was that utilized?
Madden. It wasn't utilized that much, but Madden
I'm
did.
sorry.
I'm sorry for any Madden fans. I'm not the biggest Madden fan.
Um,
I know the WWE games. I had fun with them.
Oh, yeah.
And you could
I mean,
utilize a bunch of PS3
in all
controllers.
honesty, there weren't many AAA titles that really had like the 8-player function outside of sports games. Because what games can you really think of that wouldn't
Smash.
need that? Besides
Yeah.
Smash is an
Yeah,
obvious.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Even
saying.
then, PlayStation had
All-Stars.
All-Stars. Yeah.
There you go.
But I think even that was only 4 at max.
Yeah, I know.
Who owned that game?
I had that game for a little bit, and then
Did you like it?
yes and no. Okay, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if I hadn't played Smash Brothers already.
No way.
I was a little bit
no.
That game is garbage.
That
okay.
game's garbage?
I have to fight for it a little bit, even though it's
What?
not okay. It's not the
Okay.
greatest game, I will admit, obviously, but I mean, it was a big step for Sony, and I respect them that they took that step and made that. Because I mean, there's a lot of huge
for
IPs on there.
copying Smash Bros. And
There's-
just putting a bunch of PS3
There's a
characters
lot
on
of
it.
Okay,
big
think about what other
IPs.
fighting game can you play Kratos in besides like
Mortal
you know,
Kombat.
Soul Calibur. Kratos is playable.
Yeah.
It's true, but I mean, like it's original IP for PlayStation. It looked good for them. Not that it sold well, but I mean, it's something
I don't-
that
yeah.
you
It's
know.
just I played the game once and I was just like, this isn't Smash.
Where's Smash Brothers?
I'm not saying it's
Mario?
better than Smash Brothers. Don't
Oh
want
no,
to say
yeah,
that.
no.
Bogged down by the nobody characters.
Yeah,
There
I
were
mean,
more than
it didn't fit well. I remember the story was
5
terrible.
at
It
least
was
that I can
god
kind of
awful.
remember, like the Cake Princess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
thing.
remember.
Yeah.
Nathan
Don't
Drake.
even remember
Nathan Drake
what
was
game
playable.
that was.
Can we talk
from.
about Uncharted for a second?
yeah.
Because that is a PS3, like, that is a thing.
It's like watching a movie. Honestly, for
Uncharted
all of
2
them.
is
It's like playing a movie.
one of the best stories I've ever seen in a game.
I
It's
love
some of
the
the best
opening
music.
sequence.
Yeah,
I
it's-
love the opening sequence.
I played that
It gives
game-
me chills every time I think
This is the
about
first one I
game.
played in the series was 2. Honestly, that's what got me into like buying a lot more PS3 games. Like this is like what I expect from this console. Is like this movie. It was really just like playing a movie. I was like, I can't believe this.
Yeah,
I mean, it felt so interactive, like no other games felt. At that
Uncharted
time.
3 even did that game felt really good too. Uncharted 3, Uncharted 2 felt good. And like I usually don't buy people games for their birthdays, but for Kyle's birthday I got him Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And like that's how much that game is means to you and me, you
Yeah.
know, cuz that you introduced me
series.
to that series.
Honestly, the multiplayer was fun. I played so much of the
Yeah.
multiplayer in 3 and 4.
Really?
It was a blast.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like kind of had a horde mode, but in 4 they used a lot more tools to make it more vertical. But I mean, it was popular. It had a long lifespan.
And then we have to talk about The Last of Us.
Okay,
Which-
well, that was
which-
near the end of the PS3's lifespan, but I
So-
think it was like kind of the cherry on top, you know?
That definitely was the cherry on top, but that was a game that really, like, blew people's minds.
Yeah, I mean, God, the freaking first 15 minutes.
The first 15 minutes,
Yeah, it gripped me.
a lot of people are like, am I playing a movie? Am I playing a game? And it really went in that area. I'm not the biggest fan of The Last of Us personally because I think its movie aspects were very strong. Its storytelling was very strong. The characters were very strong. I don't think the gameplay was the greatest.
I don't think you played all the facets of the game. I mean, there was a multiplayer side to it. Did you play any of that at all?
I didn't.
Which, I mean, it's obviously not the greatest multiplayer, but I'd been playing it. I played it for like almost over a year, and it was still kicking.
So do you think I should give Last of Us another chance?
I think if you haven't, you should.
Should I give the gameplay a chance, or should I give just the story? Because the story is amazing.
I'm not talking about the story.
But
I think, honestly, I think the gameplay works well for what the game is. I mean, and...
But we're talking about games here. Would you buy the game as a game, or would you buy it as a story?
I bet the game is a game. The multiplayer is tactics based.
I kind of disagree.
Really?
I think I understand it's basically Uncharted but kind of down, right? It's a little
It's
downgraded.
not as fun as Uncharted.
Exactly, because Uncharted, have the vehicle section, and it's not supposed to be. It's
Yeah,
not
well, so
supposed
they're
to
two
be.
very different games. I mean, they're adventure games.
Yeah.
But I mean, Uncharted's much more open world, and I would say that arguably Last of Us is more story driven.
I would rather play Uncharted and watch Last of Us.
Last of Us
how
could have been a great movie.
it
I
could-
think they
it-
talked about
I-
making a movie for it at some point, but I don't know
Yeah.
what happened with it.
I mean, I'm glad it's a game. It
Of
definitely
course.
changed people's perspective.
And they're making another one.
Okay.
There's already trailers out
Yeah.
for it and everything. I mean, it's obviously doing well. So
But PS3 definitely had, like, the single-player games.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it also had the remakes of the single player games
from the PS2.
from PS2.
oh,
It had
so like ISO, Shadow of the Colossus.
yeah, it had Kingdom Hearts as well.
Oh, 2.5,
all of the
3.5,
mixes, all of them.
Or no, 1.5, 2.5,
But
2.7,
can that-
2.85.
Can that really be considered, like, a strong point? Like is a remake really amazing?
I'm not gonna say that it's not. It's like an amazing selling point for specifically that console, but I think it's fine to get the library growing in the direction
That's
that you
true.
want it to,
I think,
which is what they did with it.
I think it's important for games like Shadow of the Colossus. I mean, they re-released it on the PS4. I think if they hadn't done it with the PS3, half those games wouldn't even be
Well,
known.
they
these
released
days.
a lot of PS2 games on the PS3.
Yeah,
They
I
released
know.
a lot of PlayStation.
I think
1
the
games on
PS3 is
PS3.
responsible for like a lot of people knowing what those games are today. I mean, if they didn't remaster them, I think a lot of people wouldn't even know what half the Metal Gear Solid games are.
I know this is going to be a sin, but I never owned a PS2, and I played a lot of PS2 games on my PS3.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest reasons I got a PS3, was to play like the first two God of Wars, which I love. Was to
Amazing.
play Shadow of the
Amazing.
Colossus, but I mean backwards compatibility. It's like, is that really a
it's-
strength?
I think it is. Absolutely, it is.
And I believe the Slim PS3 Slim. Correct me
There was
correct me if
the
I'm
Slim,
wrong.
and then
There
there's the
was
Super Slim.
Yeah, but the one that you have right now, right?
There's the
that
Slim,
one
yeah.
does not do backwards compatible gaming. Is
Yeah,
that,
working at a game store for a while, there was one version of the PS3
That was, like, the
did
first
have
one.
backwards
That was-
compatibility,
yeah.
and it
that was
wasn't universal. It would only work with certain games, just like the way that the Xbox did.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's if we're talking about if that's a main selling point, and that, but like the PS3 when I'm guessing this is what Sony did, was like all these people are going to play these games again, right? But with the PS2 disc, so we might as well make some more money on it by re-releasing it, upgrading the graphics a tiny bit. So that's what I'm guessing why they did it. But would I buy it? Would I buy that system just for that? No.
Not for
Well,
the backwards
I
compatibility
think-
or the remakes.
I think it was supposed to be a thing until Xbox 360 started doing its game library, which became super popular. And that's when Sony started doing their game library with the second release of their next-gen console for PS3.
We're talking after the 360. Did
No,
that?
yeah, when the 360 started doing its game library, then
The
the second
Xbox
version,
Arcade.
yeah,
Xbox Arcade is great. by
yeah.
the way.
But
I
then
wanna
the
talk
second,
about
the
Xbox
Slim
now.
then released for the PS3, and that's when they started making a game library of old PS2 games. So I mean, they obviously saw that it was working financially for Xbox. So
I think a lot of the decisions that Sony made were in response to Microsoft in this era. Because in my personal opinion, I think the 360 was the better system for me. I'll say.
I do want to make the point that the games that were remade that were full releases again were not always dictated by Sony, and almost never were. Those were the game's licenses owners re-releasing the game and creating it again in some cases, or just putting it,
You don't think Sony pushed them though?
porting it for it. I think in some cases for sure, but in other ones, like, I feel most of the Kingdom Hearts mixes were not made
Oh God.
Square Enix.
Okay,
just-
that was.
get at Xbox.
I understand there. God, I had so many problems with that whole thing. They did 1.5, 2.5, then they did 2.65 and 2.85. That was unnecessary. I'm sorry, but that was so
9
unnecessary.
3/4, 6.5 plus 8 minus 4 divided by 2.
But anyways,
But that was Square Enix
yeah,
doing that.
that's a whole nother
not-
monster.
I feel like Sony probably pushed the God of War trilogy to come out. I feel like there was some influence there.
I think that the whole. I think Sony was influenced by Microsoft and vice versa. I mean, that whole console war thing is really what like pushed sales to them. You got to think about
Can
it.
we
I mean,
talk about when the PS3 released? It was bad. It was.
It was
bad.
overpriced. It was
It was
overpriced.
so
it was like
overpriced.
$600.
It was. I think it was like 550 or something like that.
It was 500.
Yeah, it was like
I'm
500.
I'm pretty sure it was
initially.
600.
But the thing is, like, as we get this information about that, I believe the PS3 sold more than the Xbox 360 at the end of its life.
Yeah,
by,
I think-
but like by like a
Both. I mean, you got to think how many versions of the PS3 there were versus Xbox. I mean,
There was about 3 or 4 Xboxes, I believe.
I don't think the changes were as drastic though.
And a quote, a PS3 with a 20 gigabyte hard drive will cost consumers $499.
Yep.
Those wanting a larger 60 gigabyte hard drive will pay $599.
Yeah.
So 600.
That's
And
ridiculous.
it I'm also reading no
Which is why-
specifics. No specifics, but also says that the $499 version will lack several features found in the more expensive one.
Which is why when I got the system, it was life changing because that's not something we wouldn't have been able to buy otherwise.
What's
you
nice
know?
though about the PS3 is they let you play DVDs. They let you play Blu-ray.
That was a huge thing. They
Blu-ray,
marketed the
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray so much for that system.
But that's when this era is when they started to come out of the just gaming system and more like home entertainment.
Exactly.
system.
Yeah, it became kind of like its own little theater, you know.
The Wii didn't jump on that at all, even though they were the first console to have Netflix.
I believe that's true. Right?
I believe
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I remember having Netflix on there. I used it
But
all the time.
I think it was the
Yeah,
first. And I think,
well, that's back when Netflix was by delivery only, you know, before
but
they
you
did
can
the
watch
whole online
stuff
thing.
on it.
Yeah.
God, that was
But
a different time.
I remember when I had my Wii, I had to like jailbreak it, like hack into it, and it was able to play DVD games.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that's such a simple thing. The console can do it already. I don't know why Nintendo didn't do that. They had the philosophy of being like game only.
Nintendo does a lot of weird things with a lot of their consoles. To region lock N64s originally, they just made the cartridges different shapes. So the dust protector for an American N64 won't fit European, oh, maybe not European, but original Japanese N64 cartridges.
That's weird.
That's
All you have
that's
to
old
do
Nintendo.
to unregion lock your N64 is take the near useless anyway dust protector out.
Yeah.
yeah. Is there anything else we need to talk about the PS3? Like, I feel like we did cover a lot, but like let's go over like some of the final things and let's move on to the next console.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably a good time for it.
I think its strongest point was its single player games.
Oh yeah.
God
If,
of War 3.
if anybody had to pick
Uncharted.
one off the single player games, it's a personal favorite.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Before we wrap on it.
What would you pick? What would you pick?
Oh man, that's honestly. I think you should save me for last.
I
think
have a
first.
prediction. I think you're gonna say Journey, because you really like Journey. But I don't know.
You might have me
out.
pegged, you son of a bitch. It was between I'd say that or honestly just Journey. I mean, it was such a life changing experience. Between that or like Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Heavy Rain. Yeah, that was.
I
fun.
played through that game 3 different times, and I mean honestly,
Sean!
great game.
Jason!
That was
I will
hilarious
say,
game.
just because of its like stylistic choices, Journey has me all the way. I need more games. If you're out there, that game company, please.
Do you
give
have
me
a
more.
favorite game for the PS3, David?
I do like the Uncharted series. I think that's obviously my favorite on the PS3, and that's
Okay.
part of the reason why I wanted one was because of Uncharted. However, I think what really gets me about the PS3 is like, you know, you and I were Xbox boys.
I was the 360 guy,
Yeah,
and I
me-
got the PS3 at the end of the era.
Me and we were very similar, but like, when we went to Kyle's, he had all the. Remember playing Army of Two?
Oh my
Oh,
god!
I know
yeah.
that was on the Xbox, but like it's just going over to Kyle's, and I know we're gonna play some PS3 games.
All
And
those
I
weird
was just-
gritty PS3 games.
I was so excited, and it's because it was a new experience, and
Well, it's because my dad stocked the shelves with military shooters that he never had time to play.
I mean,
so.
PS3 had the 360, had a lot of the games. Like, they shared a lot of the
Of
games.
course,
so you're
yeah.
getting a lot of the similar experiences. I'm just getting down to the nitty gritty, like, exclusives.
yeah. That was just my favorite moment. But yeah, Uncharted for sure.
I mean, one more thing I do want to talk about on the PS3 is like all the weird Japanese indie games that were on it.
Oh! Yakuza! The Yakuza series. Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, and Yakuza 5 are
Yeah.
released on the PS3, and that's the only way you can play them. I'm pretty sure they're getting remastered on the PS4 now.
That'd be a good
But
idea, yeah.
I love those games. I can't believe I
I
forgot
mean-
about them, but I love those games immensely.
I figured. I'm surprised you hadn't brought it up earlier.
Yeah, they're just coming to me now. But
I mean, you had-
Yakuza an exclusive on the PS3.
I think
you
we
had
could
so
do a
many-
whole podcast on Yakuza.
you had so many
I
games.
could. I love that series.
Just Sean. It's not even anyone. He's just in his
Just
room.
ranting about how great Yakuza is.
But we had so many good games that started like huge series, like Demon Souls.
Demon Souls was on the
was
PS3
that weird
originally.
Japanese game on the PS3 that everybody was like, this game's too hard. But like the very small crowd that went to it was like, this is gonna be a cult classic game. And I mean, no one realized it at the time, but look, we have
Then
Dark Souls now.
and
Exactly.
Bloodborne's out and all this stuff.
Sekiro. I mean, these games are like huge AAA
But
titles now.
If I were to say my favorite game from the PS3 was God of War 3.
Excellent.
But
Excellent choice.
but it only was my favorite game because I was playing the God of War trilogy for the first time, and I was having so
It
much
was a
fun with
culmination
the
of
first and
so much
second.
time.
Yeah, so I don't know if that really counts because it was on the PS2, but
I think as long. I mean, God of War 3 was on the PS3, so I think it counts. I mean,
God of War 2 wasn't on the PS2, but they released it on the PS3.
well, we're talking more about 3 here than we are the other
Yeah.
ones.
But I 2 was a better game, but I enjoyed the third one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a particular favorite game on the PS3, Bilot?
I just really liked playing Call of Duty at that time, so I could have played whatever.
You could have played that on the PC for all you care.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
All our weird little custom games we had.
I'm a Dorito loving Mountain Dew
Oh, yeah.
drinking Xbox
Oh,
360
yeah.
Modern Warfare
I-
2
okay,
Rusty no scope.
Elite.
360. I want to talk about 360.
Is that okay? 360.
Halo 3 is awesome.
And that's the podcast.
Was it?
Halo 3, honestly, Halo 3 party chat, like how Xbox handled indie games
All right.
too.
Hold it, Halo boy. I'm right there with you, but I want to go over some like stats of the Xbox.
Before we get
Okay,
into the-
let's
the
go. Let's hear
big
some
So-
stats.
juicy titles.
One, the Xbox 360 was released on November 22nd, 2005 in the United States and Canada, December 2nd in Europe, and then December 10th in Japan. And Halo 3 is the best game ever made.
It's up there. It's up there for sure.
I could go on and on about just Halo. Like, we need to talk about the Xbox, but Halo 3 is a game that we are still playing and we are looking forward to on the PC. And when that game comes
I
out,
cannot wait.
it's over. It's actually over.
I was deciding between PS3 and 360. I was like, which one am I going to buy? And I was like, I'm going for 360 for Halo 3.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm buying
Yeah.
this 360 for Halo
Master
3.
Chief for Smash. That's all I have to say.
But no, Halo 3, it's crazy how great that game is.
I mean, good things running threes. Think about it. Gears of War 3 was.
Oh
I mean,
my god,
genre
it's so
changing.
much
I mean,
fun.
I think
with
Gears of
that.
War 2 was better in my opinion.
I
But
have to disagree. I'm a Gears of War
Gears
3
of War
fan.
3, the Horde mode was amazing.
I
Like,
think
I
just,
just
overall
I-
of its content, I think it was just
I
the
had,
most.
I had more fun with Gears of War 3, but Gears of War 2, like playing the campaign.
I think
co-op-
that,
we played through the
yeah,
co-op campaign.
I like the
file.
campaign of 2 better, honestly, than I do 3.
Yeah, it had more emotional beats. But Gears of War 1 is also a solid choice for
Yeah.
It's a
like
very
co-op
good game.
campaign.
I mean, we played through that whole campaign when it was re-released. You remember?
Yeah.
Remember, it was
Like,
amazing.
with the what was the bad guy's name?
Oh God,
Rob,
General
Yeah,
General something.
Rev. He was a
Rob,
bad Red. Whatever his
that
name
boss
was, he was a
hard.
but he was a badass.
And you could play as him in 3, which was
Yeah, they released a
Yeah.
DLC
Yeah.
for 3 where
The Carmines, dude.
Anthony, Benjamin, and
Not Carmichael Carmine. No.
Yeah.
no, but
something.
I
Character
think
that doesn't die,
3
Carmine.
had the best multiplayer. Like
Oh,
you could,
for sure.
3 had a competitive scene.
Yeah.
3 had a competitive
Wait,
scene.
are we talking about Halo 3 or Gears of War 3?
Gears of War 3.
Both.
But I mean, both had a competitive scene. But just the Nasher shotgun, like you just run up to them, shoot it, roll back.
I'm sorry, but nothing feels better than
The
Lancer
Lancer,
chainsaw.
yeah, what?
Nothing feels better than getting the
But,
chainsaw.
but what was
Shotgun.
optimized in combat sure.
As like a little like 13, 14-year-old playing Gears of War 2 and just like, you know, you're playing all this like Modern Warfare 2 and like you're playing, you know, it's like bang boom, right? And then you're playing Halo 3, it's the same thing, bang boom, right? You play your Gears of War, it's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like so appealing.
Gears of War is awesome.
It
It's
taught me what a curb stomp is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you have these cool executions, and looking back on it, like you can still have fun with Gears of War. I don't know what the series is going on with now. I haven't really checked it out.
I'll be honest. I mean, I think I learned more swear words from Gears of War 3 than I did from anywhere else.
Dumb motherfucker.
I was like, wow, this is
Coltrane, awesome character, by
amazing.
the way. All the characters are great
Yeah,
too. in
Baird,
Gears of
I
War.
love Baird. Baird is
Well
my
written.
favorite Gears
Dom?
of War. Dom, yeah.
Very well
Marcus. Marcus, like, I think people, like, oh, the thing I want to talk about the Xbox is the trailers for the games.
Ooh.
Gears of War 1, when the Mad World
Oh,
trailer.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good trailer.
Nakey Jakey sums it up best with both Halo 3 and Gears of War.
The Halo 3 trailer is very good too.
The whole advertising and like the everything for that game, it just gives me goosebumps, just like how much I feel for that game.
Yeah, if I have to think about anything that captures like the nostalgia factor, it's got to be Xbox's games. When you think about like classic Halo soundtracks, like watching the trailers, nothing beats it. Honestly,
and it's just that
All the boys in the bathroom.
T-posing.
it's also just the nostalgia of custom games of Halo 3, all those crazy games. And then Halo Reach came out, which went crazy on the custom games and put the Forge up to a next level, so you could play kind of whatever game you wanted to play.
and I mean, we can't forget about ODST.
ODST has one of the best, one of the best campaigns.
Bold claim, yeah. I think ODST was the best single player experience I had on Xbox.
It's so good.
It's not my kind of story.
It's kind of like poetic. Honestly, it's so weird.
It's Halo 3, and you don't feel as badass. And that's insane, because in Halo you feel badass, and they took that
you're
away.
Master Chief. You're like
Yeah.
like the dude.
They just
you're like
make you-
John 117. That's a reference to the Bible. You're like the dude. in
ODST
that
is a
game.
human story. It makes you vulnerable.
And
You know?
it's
that's
like you
amazing.
feel for everything because of what's happening, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's between Halo 2 and Halo 3, I believe, right? And it's
nothing beats that story for me. It's just
in
so
the flashlight
amazing.
and like the night vision, like it's just like it was so cool. And like you got introduced to Buck,
Yep.
and like who's a staple of Halo 5, right?
I didn't play Halo 5.
it's
Interesting.
if they had co-op, it would have probably been the best Halo.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird choices made there.
The
for sure.
online for that game is pretty nuts.
I'm
It's
looking
nuts.
forward to Halo in the future, but for me, like Halo's always gonna rely on like Halo 3 and Reach for me. Like Halo 4 was fun, but I didn't really get too into it.
4 was amazing.
The midnight release for Halo
dude.
4.
I will
Yeah,
always
we all
remember
went
the
to the
tournament we
midnight
went to
release.
GameStop at, which really sucks they don't do that anymore. GameStop.
This guy Bilot right here, he stayed up the night after, the day afterwards, and we were just playing the campaign the whole
Amazing.
day. I remember.
Didn't you and me play through the campaign? I remember I played through it with co-op with someone. It was amazing.
Halo
did
4,
it the same-
it's just the
same
thing.
night.
The thing that's different. We always we do LAN parties, right? And I had this giant LAN party where we had 8
Multiple times.
Xboxes.
We
and
did this recently with Halo 3.
Yeah, but that was like I'm talking about the big time, right? We had 4 Xboxes at the last time, even though that's a lot of Xboxes.
That's 16 people.
It's 16
all in a
people.
room.
We did not play Halo 4. We did not play Halo Reach. We
played Halo?
Halo 3 is always the way to go.
And we played Sand Trap, and we played
Sand
I mean,
Fox.
let's be honest, the best custom games are out there.
But I'm wondering, nostalgia is so strong for Halo 3.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so it's hard.
But
to
it's
take
such
the-
a good game.
It's hard to take the
Why
bias.
do you
bias out
think
of it.
why do you think that it is like that for you though? Why does it have such a strong nostalgia factor?
I'll give one experience. Do you remember when we were playing? It was you and me, and we were co-oping Halo 3.
Yep.
And we were finishing the last mission.
Yes, just about to
and,
say
like,
that.
The music
Driving
is
away,
playing, and we're
oh,
like driving,
God.
playing, and then
Everybody
after
has
that,
that.
Everyone has
Yeah.
that moment.
and that was like the first time we did, and we finished the game.
Yep.
And then David here, we call him up, and we're like, we just finished the campaign, we want to play, and then we just played Infection all night.
Yep.
And that was fun. And
Amazing.
Like,
So
great
cool.
experience. Like Halo 3 really, it gets on the nostalgia. Looking back on it, the fact that we're still playing it, I can still say it's a good game.
I think it's the most replayable game ever.
Absolutely.
The campaign, the fact that you can do it with 4 people too, That's crazy, and we need to try that.
Playable game of all time. That is a bold statement.
Oh man.
That is a bold statement.
But
Am I wrong?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there are many other games.
I think it's
that
definitely a contender.
there.
It's a definite contender for it. I mean,
it looks so.
the
good
release
to
of
this
Halo
day.
3 was that 2007, right? Was when it
Yeah.
released.
I think a whole
Everyone was going nuts for it.
genre of people would call that one of their favorite games. I
It's
think that's the most I can say for it.
it's like
It hit at the right time. It definitely hit at the right time.
Yeah, and that was at the peak of like the PS3. Actually, it's like a little bit at the beginning, honestly. When
Yeah.
it came out, it was a strong starting foot for Microsoft, which is probably why I think it was ahead for a long time, is because Halo 3's made such a huge path for
But
it.
Halo is also like Microsoft's like big thing.
So it was a
because-
magnum opus, dude.
But the original Xbox, it had Halo,
And
and
Halo 2.
people bought Xbox for Halo 1 and 2, and I mean that's a whole nother thing right there.
and
then they
Bilo and I
re-released it.
played Halo and Halo 2. We played that like
Oh,
we would
yeah.
go we would play
I had-
Melee. We played Halo and Halo 2 at his house, and we played that for hours.
Yeah, I
And-
had an original Xbox, the controller with the fan in the back. Super sweet.
Oh my god, yes.
I want to stress this though about the Xbox. We're talking a lot about multiplayer experiences, and we're ignoring some of the single player experiences that were on the 360. So, 360 actually had a solid indie library.
Oh yeah, Child of Light.
Yeah, but not just that. Like it actually had like an indie library where like people could submit indie games
Yeah.
and you could play them. And there was a bunch of different indie games that were released for the 360, like and then Minecraft was released on the 360
Yeah, I was
before
gonna
PS3. I think it took a long time before the PS3
Oh
eventually
yeah,
got it.
absolutely. It was near the end of its
But-
lifespan when
But,
it got
but in
Minecraft.
terms of single player games, I want to mention Fable.
Fable
Oh
2.
my
It was
God.
Fable 2 and Fable 3.
Fable 3.
I,
oh my god.
I think Fable 2 is better than Fable 3. I have better memories with Fable 3, but
Co-op and Fable 3 was insane.
looking back on Fable 2 and Fable 3, they're not that great, but when I played them, I loved them.
They
Like-
had a very nice charm.
But say yeah, they had
like
their own
back,
charm.
back in that day, back in that era, they were very
It was like-
fun games.
It was
All I
like Dungeons and Dragons but Sims.
All I remember from that game is a chicken.
That's
Why
pretty
do I
good.
remember a chicken from that game?
Oh, because there was the intro sequence. I love that intro sequence. Like the chicken is like
That's
flying
all I
around.
got from that game.
and
And,
then
then
the
the
chicken
meme is
dies.
like where he's playing, whoever the guy that created is kind of like he's kind of a meme. I don't remember his name, but he's like test
Lionhead
demoing.
Studios.
Yeah, the guy was test
a
demoing
bald
it, and
guy.
he was playing on the Xbox, and he's like, "This game's gonna be revolutionary." And the first feature I want to introduce is, and then the Xbox turns off. He's like, "The first feature I want to introduce is why has the screen gone to black?" and it's just
Okay,
like-
and that's one thing I wanted to talk about for the Xbox too is like never have I had to do so much maintenance for a console.
the red ring of death.
I mean,
Okay,
there's
but they fixed that with the Slim.
for sure. But I mean, if you
My
think
Slim still works today, no
when,
problem.
I'm saying when it comes to PS3 versus Xbox,
The
I mean,
original,
Yeah, one
the
that
original
broke.
Xbox had some problems.
you have to think about what problems did you hear about the PS3 versus you did for the Xbox.
there was some problems.
There were
with
some
the PS3,
problems with the PS3.
but the Xbox was 50% broken. That people sent
It's
it.
also cheaper.
It's
also
the, it's the
cheaper.
problems.
And like
But-
you had to buy a whole new console to get rid of that issue.
yeah,
They all broke.
They mine
I'm not saying
broke.
it makes it a bad
And I was
console.
so pissed.
My question though, if you take out the games and just look at the console and the interface, which is the better console
Are you talking about like
in terms of like the system?
oh the Wii?
Okay, stop. I think the PS3 is a better console, but I think the 360 has a better selection of games.
I think Xbox has more personality.
yes,
you got
it
to,
has more
you got to
personality.
make a little user. What do you would like?
Xbox Live
yeah.
Chat, the
You know how many
avatars.
dumb
like-
minutes I've spent sitting on the home screen spinning my guy's head? Who hasn't done that for like a straight like 5 minutes just because they're bored? I mean, and you look at your friends and like, oh, like I know that person. I can associate their little crazy dude with your
Yeah,
gamer
avatar.
profile. When like on PS3, I was like, oh, I just know this person who I play Call of Duty with occasionally.
I still
You
play
know?
my 360
Me
today
too.
though. Like
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
still I'll just throw on like Fallout New Vegas or something or like just a game.
I have
just
so
throw
many
it on.
classics on there. Play like Transistor. I mean Bastion.
Since we're talking about the hardware of the 360, I'm just gonna say one word, and it is JTAG.
Oh, right, the JTAG of the 360. That was a
That was
thing
a pretty
back in the day.
ridiculous process of
Yeah.
modding games, hacking games.
Did anybody like hack their PS3?
I mean, I
or-
didn't get an
Did you hack
Xbox
your
360.
PS3?
No, I never did.
Okay.
It was my dad's PS3. I remember he told me never to mess with it too
I
much.
did a little modding with the 360. I never modded the 360 itself.
Modding was more in the Wii for us.
I would take like
No.
I modded the crap out of my Wii, but with the 360, you could like put your USB in and you could take your save files and you could put it on the computer and like you could do stuff really easily without endangering your, especially with single player games like Oblivion.
Yeah.
Like you could take that save file, give yourself 1,000,000 gold and just have fun with Oblivion.
Yeah.
Much easier to do on the PC, but
The thing I want to talk about the Xbox next is the controller.
God.
I will argue that the 360 controller is way better than the PS3 controller.
I won't even argue against
Yeah,
that. Oh God,
I prefer the Wiimote.
in the lifetime of my having a PS3, I went through 9 controllers.
Oh my god.
And they were these. I mean, they were small. I mean, I have big hands. So it doesn't really matter to me. But like, they were small controllers, and they broke so easily.
My brain was thinking PS4 controller, and I was like, that's my favorite controller.
PS4 is good, but the PS3
PS3 were just these small, dinky pieces of plastic crap that when you dropped them once, they either split open or they just didn't work anymore. And I remember, like, especially with the games that they marketed primarily on PS3, like Call of Duty and stuff, those are the controller breaking games.
Okay.
You remember how good the battery life was, though, on the PS3?
I don't think it was that good.
Actually, it was pretty decent. Those controllers
know.
had pretty
I
decent
don't
battery
remember.
The
life.
360 had great battery life.
Because it had batteries.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know how
PlayStation had pretty decent battery.
But I remember having
Until
to
mine started
always
getting broken, I
charge
didn't have
the
to charge them too
PS3.
much.
I remember
There's 3 controllers that I will take to the grave with me. And that's 1, the Xbox 360 controller.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
2 is the Pro controller for the Switch.
Yep.
Which I think is the greatest controller.
And then 3 is the GameCube
I have
controller.
arguments.
Me too.
D-pad sucks.
The
On the
D-pad on the
360?
360?
No.
On the Pro
Pro controller.
Pro controller?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think
Oh,
the
yeah.
D-pad in the 360 is worse, though.
Yeah.
That thing's a piece of crap.
Clunky. Very clunky.
Try playing a fighting game in the 360. I tried. I tried
Fighting
playing
games
Dead
are
or
for
Alive.
PS3.
I tried playing Soul Calibur. Yeah, if you want fighting games, do
PS3.
not get a 360.
Yeah.
Get a PS3.
Oh, yeah, and that's
Throw
what they
them
used
where-
in tournaments, I believe.
If you want to play Blaze Blue, stuff like
If
that.
you think of like Mortal Kombat, I mean Street Fighter, all these games that were like way, way better. I mean, was Mortal Kombat even on Xbox?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was on
360?
Xbox.
I mean, people,
Maybe like some of the older ones, yeah.
Oh,
people
yeah.
played it on the 360, though.
Yeah. I just think it was so much more enjoyable. I mean, games like Blaze Blue on the PS3 that we played, you can't tell me that the D-pad was not way better on there.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what they were thinking with the
But
D-pad.
with the 360, like, the games that we played on it the most obviously didn't use the D-pad.
Well, they sacrificed the D-pad for comfortability on the Xbox.
The D-pad was like, it's like in games nowadays they just use it for like
Menus,
some
sort of.
inventory
Taunts.
stuff, or like taunts, or like inventory stuff, or like
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Fighting
not
games are
very
really the only ones that
utilized.
use it these days, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, it's the Xbox 360 controller. It does what it needs to do, and it looks like the controller. When you think of a video game controller, you think of the
It
Xbox
feels
360.
good how your hands
The
go around it.
triggers,
Comfortable.
the
The
bumpers,
triggers are nice. The bumpers are
the
nice.
buttons.
That's a pet peeve of mine I had for PS3 controllers. Was like R2 and L2 felt so wrong to press. These are like little crappy small triggers in the back.
Respect for the 360 controller, but it's too slanted to fit my hands like in an
Your opinion
actual
is
way.
wrong.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Well, you know what? You're wrong.
Just
so-
do your sound. Do the sound. Focus on that. Alright?
But the Wiimote though.
Okay.
What do you guys think of the Wiimote?
I play Brawl and Smash 4 with the sideways Wiimote.
I think the games that
No, you
use
don't.
the Wiimote and Nunchuck were fine.
What? Wait, the Wiimote with the what is it called? The Wiimote Plus? Is that
Oh
what
yeah,
it's called?
yeah. The little
When-
one that had the extra like home screen.
No, you're thinking of
extension.
It's the thing you.
classic, the Pro.
No, not the classic. The
No,
thing
it-
you attach to the
Yeah,
Wiimote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the very bottom attachment.
I
know
think
what
it's
you're
called the
talking about.
classic.
No, it's not called the
The
classic.
Wii Motion.
Alex, you look that up
Plus.
for
No.
me.
Motion Plus.
No.
That's what it was called.
I think it's called the
Are you
Wiimotion
talking about
Plus.
the gamepad?
No,
No, I don't
There's a little
care about
thing you
that.
attach to the
Oh,
bottom of the
I'm talking about the
Wiimotes.
Wiimote.
Yeah, and
Plus.
then they had the upgraded version where it was already
built
built
into the
in.
controller.
I remember
Yeah.
using Wiimotion Plus all the way through Skyward Sword.
That's.
There was-
I was just about
yeah.
to bring up Skyward Sword, and that was a great experience. That was a
Amazing.
great
I
single
played through
player
it twice.
experience.
That was the first game that really needed it, required it. That wasn't Wii Sports Resort.
I was just
God.
about to say that.
Love Wii Sports Resort.
I liked Wii Sports.
All right, let's go back
Resorts.
to Xbox, right?
No, hold on. Wii Sports Resort.
Wii
is
Fit
great.
Plus.
Wii Sports Resort is great.
I love the game.
I've spent so many hours
But,
in
dude,
It is
when I
one of
first
the best-selling
I
games
know
on the
it
console,
is.
though.
when I first got my Wii, Like Wii Sports blew my mind.
We'll
like,
get there.
Playing tennis, playing baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
That does give me a good point, though, is that the Xbox 360 and the PS3 did try to copy off of the Wii with the PlayStation
did.
Move and the Kinect.
Oh
Yeah.
I had a Kinect.
I mean,
I'll
too.
speak
Okay.
for it. It was a piece of crap. I had about probably like 5 hours of fun with it before I was
Well,
like, screw this.
I'll tell you
thing.
that the PlayStation had no success on that side either. Even on the PS4,
Did you
the
have
camera
a Move? Did you have a PlayStation Move?
at the end of the lifetime, yeah. And then
you
I got
try
one on,
it?
and then I
Did
got
you
one on
like
the
it?
PS4 too, and it was also bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The only reason why they're good
Used
now
it
is because
twice.
of PSVR. That's the only reason. I think they're still
okay.
using them. I'm not sure. Don't.
it's
That
definitely
is-
still a thing, but I just
The
I-
Kinect,
You
though,
gotta
like,
get a vibe.
That ain't
they
it.
were the Kinect had one good feature for me. Boost Roda.
Oh my god!
You could actually use
Of course.
you could
Of
use the
course.
Oh my
Kinect to
God.
say that, but you had to memorize all the.
Your only platform for fighting for the Kinect
Yeah.
is goddamn food.
I remember
When your friend comes over, he trolls you in Mass Effect. and
Yeah, I
wastes your
remember
abilities.
Mass Effect 3 comes out. You're like, Garrus, use concussive shot.
Parents come downstairs. Who the hell are you yelling at?
Boost Roda.
I could just press the LB button, but no.
That's not the
let's,
fun.
Let's
That's not fun.
let's scream, Garrus, use concussive shot.
At 2 in the morning.
Hey Alexa, make Garrus use
Yeah.
No, Kinect was. I did not like the Kinect.
I don't think anybody really did.
I still have it.
Maybe it was good for dancing games. That's probably about it.
Dude, the Star Wars dancing game.
Did you
God.
like
I'm
that?
Han Solo.
Are you
I'm
joking? Or
Han
are you
Solo.
serious? Did you like that game?
I hated it.
Okay, good.
It's in my top 5 games of all time.
You can also talk about like the zany, weird cartoon games that Xbox had, like Dorito Bowl. Does anyone remember like
yeah.
Dorito Bowl, that weird like Wipeout type game?
I remember that, yeah.
I played, where you played with your Xbox avatar and you played pretty much
So
a wipeout
weird.
game.
Yeah.
So weird.
I was
Yeah,
to
I
a point
played
where I was
that.
like, I might as well start a speed running it. Like,
What's that biking game too? I don't remember the name of it. It's really popular nowadays. Trials.
Oh,
Yeah.
Trials,
Was that,
yeah.
was that an Xbox?
I don't remember having it on PS. I don't think it was on PlayStation. I don't remember it being on there. You want to look that up?
Trials.
I'm pretty sure Trials wasn't on PlayStation.
Because that was like a Flash game.
I remember it being
right?
Xbox exclusive. I mean, it's on PC nowadays.
It was a
but
it was a Flash game, and then it went to the
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, well, I think it did start out as a Flash game.
A lot of cool games like Behemoth games, Alien Hominid. They put on the 360.
Yep.
Castle
Oh,
Crashers.
Castle Crashers. Yeah, of course, dude.
Oh, dude.
Dungeon Defenders?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Defenders.
The multiplayer on like the online / couch co-op on the Xbox 360 is some of my favorite moments
Yeah.
of the Xbox.
Just
So-
playing something like Pinball Blast.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Marble? What's
Marble
that?
Blast. That's not pinball.
Yeah,
Marble
Marble
Blast.
Blast. Yeah.
so Trials, the first one came out in 2000. That was actually just for Java.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's- yeah, it was Flash.
Trials
okay.
2 was Flash. Trials HD was for 360. Trials Evolution was also 360. Trials Fusion, which came out in 2014, is PC, PS4, 360, and the Xbone.
So it was Xbox exclusive for a while.
And
After
the Trials Rising that
Gotta
is
get that
coming
put out
out is
there.
coming out for Switch as well.
that doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's a big enough series now where they want to
Yeah,
get it on every possible platform.
it's one of those games that I think it's a viral game, right? Like how like Happy Wheels was and like Amnesia. It kind of.
Happy Wheels is a whole different monster.
I would just like to mention games that were exclusive for the Xbox 360, though, just to get them out of the way. Like Crackdown.
Oh my god, Crackdown.
The only
There-
reason
a
why
lot
I
of people
remember
like
that game
Crackdown.
Yeah,
was
it's
to
a
get the
good
Halo
series.
3 beta.
Right, that was a big thing. But Forza, also. A lot of people love Forza.
Not a personal fan, but I know a lot of people who are into it. So
I'm just saying, like, that was another big selling point of Xbox. And that was a big selling point of the Xbox One when the Forza game came out for it.
The game that I first saw on the Xbox 360 was Dead Rising. You know that zombie
Dead
game
Rising.
in the
Oh yeah.
wall?
Oh yeah.
It's actually a pretty good game. I think it has it's
I didn't play too much of it honestly. I played 3, but
it felt I think it was Capcom as well, and it did feel like a Capcom game. And that's what really got me. It's like looking back at the Capcom games, it's just like what?
Sorry, I just remember it's Doritos Crash Course. That's what it
Doritos
was.
Crash.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
of course. What a weird name. Left 4 Dead was also exclusive on Xbox 360.
Can I tip
was
my
Fable
hat
2.
as a PC gamer to the Orange Box?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Orange Box was on the 360.
It was.
Yeah.
On the PS3.
That's what
too.
I'm saying. As a PC gamer, I definitely have to tip my hat to that one.
But I remember it on the Xbox more than the PS3 for some reason.
I honestly had a lot of fun playing the Orange Box on the 360 before I went into my PC gaming phase, because I just had a lot of fun with it, and it was like Team Fortress 2. It was straight vanilla Team Fortress 2, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it could be argued that all the additions they made to Team Fortress 2 maybe made it worse, maybe made it better.
Well,
like,
for sure.
that's an
Like, a lot of
argument there.
people would play the vanilla game still.
And you could still do that on 360 right now. There's still people playing, I'm sure. Go on 360,
I have
go to
no
Xbox.
idea.
But
Yeah.
let's talk about the Wii.
I think we should finish up our thoughts on the Xbox.
Xbox 360.
I think
but
there are games on the 360 that you're not acknowledging that
Like
deserve
what?
to be acknowledged. Both Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie Batman games.
Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie were released on the Xbox
Yes.
Live Arcade, if I recall. And I played them both on the 360.
and nuts and
I did.
bolts.
Nuts and bolts is divisive. A lot of Banjo fans don't like it. I played it, and it doesn't really feel like a Banjo game, but it is a fun game on its own.
Okay.
I-
Other than that, the Batman Arkham games.
I thought that was on the
Those are
PS3.
exclusive. Those are on PS3 too. I
I'm
played
not
those
saying
on-
they're exclusive. I'm saying there are other games that are on it that were not being acknowledged that I think should be acknowledged. Batman Arkham games, BioShock.
That's on the PS3 too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
BioShock.
not looking for
BioShock was
exclusivity. I'm
more.
saying games that we didn't talk about because he kept talking about Halo.
That's the thing about this era is that like there were so many great games. 2007 as a year for games, just like you were preoccupied with games. You had Modern Warfare, Halo 3, Galaxy, and those were the three games that really stuck out to me. But like, there's just so many games that just like you think of like, oh, this game's great. That probably came out in 2007.
Here's a list. 2007, Portal,
Oh yeah.
BioShock,
Oh yeah.
Call of Duty 4, Team Fortress 2, Crysis, Halo 3, Mass Effect, Super Mario Galaxy, The Witcher, the first Assassin's Creed, the first Uncharted, God of War 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Command & Conquer 3, Rock Band,
We
Lego
didn't even
Star
talk
Wars,
about Rock
Star Wars: The Complete Saga,
Oh.
I think that was on PS3.
Well, no, we're just
Crackdown.
naming
I'm
games.
just naming games from the era,
2007.
like the Orange Box 2.
To be comprehensive in one of the many, but probably the most recent and largest golden years of gaming, is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
We are never going to get a comprehensive list of all the great groundbreaking games
Oh, of
that
course.
came
That'd
out then.
be hours upon hours.
yeah, it's,
So
it's,
we didn't get to your favorite game.
Do we want to do last thoughts on Xbox then?
yes. I will start this.
Okay, what do you think of the last thoughts?
Xbox 360 is one of the first systems that I actually bought for myself as a 10-year-old or 11-year-old. I don't remember. And me and my brother saved for months and months for this system.
Why
to
the
come out.
360?
Halo.
Me
I'm
too,
not
me
even
too,
joking.
me too.
Just
I'm
playing
not
so
joking
much
either.
Halo and Halo 2. It's just like I wanted to get that in my basement with my brother and with my friends, and I didn't know how big of an impact that game would have on me. The music,
Oh my
the
God, the
loading
music.
screen, just everything, just the glitches, the Easter eggs. It's like
Collecting the skulls.
yeah, oh, it's something that I will never forget, and
going
I'm going to
after
show my
Hayabusa.
children, and I'm going to show everyone, and I'm not going to stop playing that game for the rest of my life.
I mean, I'll say the same thing. I mean, Xbox was the first console I ever bought for myself, the 360. I mean, even after I had the PS3 already. But, I mean, it definitely meant a lot. I mean, it was a huge thing. It was like, wow, I mean, I have access to all these, like, amazing games finally that all my friends play. Because, I mean, honestly, I
Back
had more
in the
friends
day,
that played
though,
Xbox.
you were the PS3 guy.
Oh, I'll always fight for the PS3. I'm
like
just
playing
saying,
Resistance, Killzone.
as
games
far as,
that.
like, multiplayer, though, I mean, Xbox has it for me. I mean, all those countless hours of us
But
doing
sometimes
custom
you
games
do have
and
to go to
Halo.
you do have to go to the PS3 and be like, I want to play
If
Persona.
I want a
wanna
great
play-
single player experience, I'd rather go to the PS3. If I want like to hang out with my friends and have an amazing time, I'm always gonna go to the Xbox.
Very fair, very fair.
I'm gonna make my kids play online 360 Dark Souls 1.
Oh god. Okay. All right. So the Wii.
What you guys didn't give your thoughts?
I think we covered basically everything.
I would like to say that I owned all of the systems except the 360, and I think I clocked more time on the 360 than the PS3 still.
Even though you own one.
Makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that was always just like, let's go to so and so's house. They have the Xbox 360, and then that's a night. That's a night right there.
That is on.
It's you bought me Minecraft which is again one of the top 5 of my favorite games, and you bought that for the Xbox 360, and like again, that's just like those experiences like just changed who I am.
So let's talk about the Wii now.
All right. It came out on November 19th, 2006, and it actually ended up selling the most. It sold more than 101 million units. As of December 2009, it broke the sales record for most sales in a single month in the US for a console, which is sweet. It was like during the super Christmas shebang then. Like, that was in New York.
Perfect time to release it. I mean,
Like, there were tales of people getting in fights in New York, I remember hearing.
I remember I got that console for Christmas, and it was, I stayed up till 5 in the morning, the only time my parents ever let me do that. And this is like, motion controls the standards were set there. I mean, Xbox, PS3 did not even come close to having what we had.
The Xbox and PS3 was still going for the hardcore gamers.
Oh, for sure.
And like
but they tried to mimic that later on. So,
Yeah,
you know,
they did. Once they saw the success of the Wii.
but came nowhere close. Let's be honest.
Nintendo always likes to be inventive.
Yeah, and they did it right, actually, especially with the way they marketed it.
For sales, at least.
Was as a family console. So they released a game that anybody could play with their family. All games everybody already knows, sports games, and that game ended up being the most selling game on the console and the second most selling game that is exclusive to a single console of all time.
But it was also released with the Wii, most consoles. Wii Sports.
Exactly.
It was, but
So does that count?
did it not drive sales if it came with almost every Wii?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with Wii Sports. I think we talked about that earlier.
And
like, I had a lot of fun.
It
with
was
it.
a family console. I remember my mom played that, and my uncle came over and played it. I mean, it was such a neutral zone for all kinds of gamers to play. It was weirdly friendly.
I
Like,
remember playing it with everyone. Like, anyone would pick up the Wiimote and like swing
I mean,
tennis or baseball. They're all fun.
you can't tell me that whenever you had a new friend over, a family member over, like, oh, you should make a me on my Wii. Like,
Oh my god!
let's get that
So
to happen.
Wii Maker.
Let me explain the Wii from my perspective. When I took Suzuki lessons for violin, and I'm a music comp major now, and it's very serious when you're taking lessons, right? You're very involved.
A lot of focus.
And now you're probably wondering, why is he bringing this up? For one of the lessons, my teacher asked me to bring my Wii to class
Why?
because she wanted to play it. That's insane. That like one of our lessons, like we paid her so I could play the Wii. Like
Oh my god!
we played Wii boxing and I punched
Your
me.
professor.
Yeah, like that's just like the power of like the family aspect of the Wii is something that no other console has done yet.
Very strong, but once they went on that whole family thing, the hardcore gamers were like, "All right, Nintendo, we're moving over."
It wasn't even just that. The hardcore gaming companies were like, no go.
Also, the graphics on the Wii, like,
Okay, but that's
the-
what made it friendly. Is like it was like the animation for like the sports games and the reserve game was like this very neutral blob type art. You know, that was like
Nintendo made the games that it
inclusive.
released look
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Like Brawl looked good.
I think it did the best job of making you feel like you were there. You know.
I
This
remember
is so
seeing the
interactive.
opening to Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and like
Oh
the
my God.
opening cinematic, it like cuts in, and compared to every game of the time that I had seen, I was like, "This is clean," and then it goes to the gameplay, and it's like,
But Nintendo has a way of making their games like look good. Like, I want to bring GameCube back into this, like Wind Waker. That game still looks good today.
Melee still looks good.
Melee still looks good today.
Skyward Sword
Skyward
still looks
still-
really
it still looks
Twilight
good.
Princess, Pikmin, they all look super good.
Nintendo always goes for the art style over like graphics.
Yeah, they make cohesive games. They ship them as units.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo's probably the most structured out of all the three.
What do you mean by structured?
I think they have the best formula.
Well,
Think about it. I mean,
For just the Wii?
I'm thinking just for in general for their company. Think how successful. I mean, and that's another topic, obviously. But I mean,
Let's talk about the Wii.
yeah.
They're the single player games. Let's list them off. Super Mario Galaxy.
Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Super Mario
Amazing
Galaxy
games.
2. Which
Skyward
which
Sword.
one do you guys think was better, by the way?
Galaxy 1 had a better story.
I'm gonna say I
the whole-
enjoyed 1 more than 2. I played through both of them all.
2 was way more fun for the gameplay aspect. 1, it was one of the first Mario games that I actually kind of was involved in the story.
I think as a singular experience, 1 was better.
The 1 had amazing music. It felt like this epic kind of symphony-esque.
It was like the new Mario
video game.
64. I mean, it was huge.
It was very inventive.
The hub world was really cool, and like the hub world, that theme where it's very like spacey and atmospherical.
Super Mario Galaxy was a great game. It was like a great selling point for the Wii. Like it was a reason to get the Wii.
And that brings me, so when the games on the Wii were like, significantly cheaper than any other system.
No, that's definitely an edge
I
that they
think
had
they were
over
like
their market.
50.
It was $40 for Mario Galaxy.
I'm pretty sure it was 50.
I
I
think
think
it
some of
was
the games
40.
were full price.
I think
The
most
only
of them were 50.
single-player games that aren't Mario Galaxy or Zelda that were in the top 25 of the top games sold was at 25 Super Paper Mario.
Oh my god.
I like Super Paper Mario.
I mean, I never
It's-
played through a lot of this.
It's not as good as Thousand Year Door, and it's not as good as the original Paper Mario, but it's still a great game with a great story. And I think Super Paper Mario's story beats any other Mario story.
Oh, it's an amazing
Yeah.
single-player story.
Super Paper Mario is a great game. I really wish they would continue that trend. I don't know what happened.
I do
with
want to go
Sticker
back to
Star.
the price of the games because there's a reason why I brought that up as well. Is that in 2007, again, golden year of gaming, there's 3 games that were coming out that year, and it was Mario Galaxy, Animal Crossing, and Wii Music, and I wanted all 3 of those, and I was like, I'm not gonna get them because the games are expensive, and for Christmas that year, I got all 3 of them.
So what was your experience with Wii Music? Because I never played that game.
Wii Music is a tech demo that is an absolute piece of shit game. However, as a young kid that loved music and seeing all these instruments and learning all these things, like it opened my mind. You know, it's like I can see all these instruments and press the 1, 2 B button just fuck around, and it was cool, and like it kind of got me interested in other learning other instruments.
So that makes me think, when we get into the music aspect, Nintendo liked to explore a little bit with stuff like that. They tried out Wii Fit. Anybody here have Wii Fit?
Oh, I
Didn't
played through
didn't you
so
own
much
it,
Wii
Kyle?
Fit. I spent probably like 3 hours meditating once, sort of like the Zen mode on it. Probably fell asleep a couple times, if we're being honest.
Did you think Wii Fit, like, was that like
It was
a
a success.
game.
It was a success.
Huge.
W-
Well,
was
they
it
came
a
out with 2
fun
different
game,
versions of
or
it.
was
They came
it-
out with Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus.
Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus are the 6th and 7th most best-selling games.
That's
on
insane.
They were crazy.
But I never got into Wii Fit, so I'm just wondering.
I think, well, the whole thing was the pad. They gave you the pad for the Wii Fit.
So what was like? What exactly was it? Like what was Wii Fit?
Well, I mean, Wii Fit was the pad was like the biggest feature they were selling of the
Right,
game was,
right.
was to use that on it's like was for running. It was mainly for exercise.
It's
That was
an
the huge.
exercise simulator.
It was
But
for
did it do its job? Because I'm not
No.
asking. Is it a
We're
good
gonna
game?
be very honest.
Did it do it? Was it a fun game, or
It was a fun
did it
game.
do its job?
It didn't do its job, but it was a fun game.
It was a good idea to a lot of people, and a lot of people
I-
hung it
I
back
got-
up and put it away.
I got a decent workout from it, but I mean, you're dealing with a piece of plastic. I mean, if you're designing a game for people to lose weight, the people that are going to be on it are going to be heavier people on this piece of plastic you're giving them to stomp on.
Whatever. Just like
I
were
mean-
they doing like yoga poses?
No.
and
There's
stuff?
there's an obstacle course. There's a running game where you like
That was
run
in
on
that
the-
was
on
in
the top of the pad.
that was in Wii Sports Resort actually.
Well, true, but I'm saying the track pad, the pad for the Wii
I-
Fit also had it.
I did that running game and it was so much fun. But
Honestly, the Wii Fit's pretty much just a board with 2 pressure plates on either side of it.
Yeah.
And all the games are based off of differing pressures
Yep.
on different sides of the thing.
So you could-
that was the whole
balance.
thing. It was
You
a
could-
balance.
you could-
Balance board.
So like the one game where it threw soccer balls at you and you had to tilt to the side
Yep.
to try to hit
It
it
sees
with your
where you
head. Like tons of memes were made.
Well,
out
part of it
now.
also was that it used the controller to see where you were too. I mean, it was all one setup.
Yeah.
But
To be frankly
would-
honest though,
it would tell you to stop
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
were lifting your knees up
Yep.
yeah.
and lifting
Which
your
is the
legs
weirdest
off.
part is you'd lift your heels off of it to like step, which was so
You
weird.
had to like skate.
Which is why I think it was kind of ineffective because you could also kind of get past any of the workouts by shaking the controller on the run out things.
To be honest though, like I've seen more Wii Wii pads or Wii Fit pads stored underneath entertainment stands than out.
I'll be honest, I probably still have mine somewhere lost at my mom's.
But that's because everybody bought one and put it away.
It's kind of like the Kinect.
How much? How
it's a better version
How
of
many
the Kinect,
copies of Wii
honestly.
Fit were sold?
That's a good question.
I got it. 22.67 million.
Holy crap!
I mean, that was it came out like during that Christmas period, and that's what people like gave to their kids and stuff. Was like,
I don't think it was meant
Hey.
for kids. I think that they bought the Wii for their kids, and they're like,
Okay,
I might as well get a use out of this.
I will
And
say
feel
Wii
like
Fit was definitely geared more towards adults.
my parents bought it. Yeah.
But I think part of the thing was like, people, if it's a game, they want people to be, like that's an area where games are like, oh, you're inside the whole day, you're not doing anything. That was an area where they wanted to like, hey, Nintendo's getting people outside, which I mean, think about like Pokemon Go and stuff like that. Now, like they've always been trying to like innovate ways to like make games more interesting.
The Wii had that famous screen. It was like, why don't you put the Wiimote down and go outside?
Exactly,
right?
like
The Wii was an experiment.
yes, and it paid off. I will say it
Nintendo's
paid off.
trying to do experiments with their
It
consoles.
I
paid
think-
off in sales, but it didn't pay off in what mattered later, which was the integrity of all of their IPs. They
True.
only had the ones that they came in with when they left, because the Wii was so fucking weird.
I mean, it wasn't built for anything besides Nintendo games. So if you think about like, oh god, I remember I
Black
played
Ops.
Black Ops on it
Yeah.
one time, and I will never forget that I do never want to play it again after that. Not on that
I
console.
believe it didn't have.
It was so uncomfortable. It just wasn't. It wasn't made for it. It was Nintendo was made for Nintendo games.
But those games were very good. I feel.
The main titles, all the AAA titles, were all amazing. I mean, Twilight Princess. And,
Twilight Princess
You know,
was on the
on and
GameCube
on.
though, and a lot of people prefer to play it on the GameCube.
but I will say that that's half of the Wii is the backwards compatibility with GameCube. That was a huge part.
A big part of the Wii for me was the Virtual Console. I thought that stuff was sweet.
Playing Ocarina of Time.
You can
in
play Ocarina of
64
Time. You can play the original Paper Mario.
Yeah.
You can play Super Mario RPG.
with
you
the
can play-
GameCube controller.
If we're talking about half the fun for Wii, remember Brawl? We started modding Brawl. How crazy that got!
I had a lot of fun modding Brawl and like putting different skins.
Among other things.
Cooking Mama.
Oh boy.
There's just, like so many weird things you could do with the console. That I mean, like remember all those like extra like what was that one where you were the little hands and you were picking guys up off the battlefield? Does anyone remember that one?
There was like a
Like a stick
figure
fighter. Yeah,
game,
it was like
Defend
stick
Your
figures.
Fortress.
Yeah, there's Defend Your Fortress, right? I think that's the
Yeah.
name of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember having a lot of fun with that. You could like upgrade your tower and stuff.
Yeah, like all the and like the UI was so unique. All like the
It
little
was just
channels
fun, like,
you had on there.
Pointing your Wii remote at the
Yeah,
screen
I thought it was like
picking
I
stuff
definitely
up.
think out of all the UIs, it was the
Throwing
most
it out.
comfortable because the music too. I mean, think about the Wii channel theme. What's more iconic than the dun 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 dun?
You know what I think is more iconic than that? The dun 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 dun.
I do.
the shopping.
I do want to go
Okay.
back to Brawl. I
Okay.
think Brawl was an interesting game for us. Okay, we are big into the competitive scene of Smash right now, but we played probably a lot of Brawl.
Probably.
Probably-
That's
Definitely an
wrong.
understatement.
We
We played so much Brawl that we don't want to touch it ever again anymore.
Well, we also have alternatives, so I mean,
But you don't really play Brawl anymore.
oh no,
play
but
Project M if you're
Subspace,
gonna play it.
Subspace.
Subspace was fun, but I've tried to replay it and it's not fun anymore.
I don't know. I've replayed that
I think
many times.
running it the first time through was such a unique experience.
It was cool.
Smash with a
'cause
story
of the
which had never been done
cutscenes,
before.
though.
Yeah, it was a pretty compelling story, I think, overall for what it was.
But it wasn't. The gameplay wasn't fun.
No.
Well, not really, but
I
mean,
don't have fun with the what's it called, Spirits mode. I'd
Yeah,
rather
me
play
neither.
Subspace. Than,
I don't
mean,
play either of
it-
those games.
I
for
wish
those
there was a
aspects.
mix. I wish there was like a mix. If World of Light had cutscenes, I think it'd be really good.
oh, I totally agree.
All things considered, for the standard for story in Smash, I think that it was pretty good for Subspace.
No, Subspace was a good thing for the game. Great
I
stories.
mean, you can't. I mean, it helped
that the
like give another
characters
reason to
didn't
buy the
have
game. You
before.
know, not just to have the multiplayer feature,
And
have
they
like a
had-
single player function.
They had the demos of like Mario 64, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
like
yeah, they had a
that
lot
was
of
a
those
really
on there.
cool feature.
was a cool feature. Virtual Console, like I said, was a huge selling point for me. It's like
how
you
many
could
games were on that?
a bunch. You had everything.
It was a big deal when the Wii shop closed. That was a huge deal a couple of years ago.
I think Wii U had a lot of the games, too.
Yeah,
'Cause you
but
could port most of the games.
the
you
Wii
bought
U
on the
never
Wii on the Wii U.
had N64 games.
That's not true.
Are you sure? I don't
Yeah.
remember. I think I would have.
You can also play any game you bought on the Wii
The
channel.
main reason we were playing Smash 64 was on the Wii.
Wii U.
Oh, Wii U.
He
excuse
said
me.
Wii U.
Oh,
You can. I know for a fact that on the Wii U, any game that you bought on the Wii, you can. You remember Wii mode on the Wii U? You can go into Wii mode
Yeah.
and you can play
Yeah.
any game you bought on the Wii.
Really?
So just go to the Wii mode and buy a Nintendo
Really?
64 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
I've
remember
done it.
that.
I've done
You
that.
just didn't play enough Wii U.
I played
You had
Majora's
the
Mask on the
console.
Wii U. I played Majora's Mask on it.
Wii U had a virtual console that included Nintendo 64. They had Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64, Paper Mario, Ocarina of Time, Mario
Yeah.
Tennis, Kirby 64.
Really?
Mario
And that's why
Golf.
it's so surprising that they haven't done.
But that's
anything
is that
for
Wii
the-
or Wii U?
on the Switch yet.
I think they're going to
check.
though.
Make sure that's
Yeah.
Wii or Wii. Because if I think
List of virtual console games for Wii U.
I would have totally played, Ocarina of Time on the Wii U.
Well,
Like,
you
I-
didn't because you already played it on the Wii. What's the point?
I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't
You can
remember
play it on
seeing
the-
it.
But hold on,
definitely-
hold on.
It definitely was on the Wii U.
And soon to be
was.
followed by
I
the
played
DS
Maj-
release.
I played Majora's Mask, I'm pretty sure, on the Wii U. It might have been through the Wii, like that Wii mode that they have. But, I mean, think about it. You had Ocarina of Time on the 3DS.
I hear people in Zelda speedrunning chats often talking about how the Wii U emulator, since it's a virtual console, is terrible. for
I imagine
speedrunning.
so.
That just speaks volumes about like the console generation after this one. Is that I had a Wii U and I didn't even know that.
Well, that's just because how short the lifespan was and how quickly people grazed over the Wii U.
was a failure.
Yeah, you
It
didn't
was-
ever want to put any
it was-
games in it because they didn't make any for it.
It was the dark side of the Wii, if we're being honest. If the Wii was a successful experiment, the Wii U was a failure.
People thought the Wii was an add-on. They thought that
Yeah,
tablet was
yeah.
an add-on for
Yeah.
the Wii.
It's crazy how bad marketed, and the Wii U is not what we're talking about here. I want to talk about a point I can make about the Wii U is why it was such a failure immediately, and that's because they had no third-party games that were great flagship IPs by themselves to sell their console for them.
Yep.
Just like Xbox One and PS4 did. Bloodborne is probably the only game in the first 2 months of the PS4's release that anybody talks about still.
Yeah.
But I think a big reason why that didn't happen was because of the failure of the Wii to provide third-party support.
Exactly, that's what I was
The
getting
Wii
at.
started
was
off strong.
that the Wii didn't have any of those games on it because it completely scared away all of the third-party developers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty sure there was a big thing for a while where they stated we don't want to do M-rated games. At the beginning, near the beginning of it.
They had
No
No
one's
More
positive.
Heroes, and they had that black and white.
That wasn't at the
game.
beginning of the Wii's lifespan, though.
I guess that's true.
If you notice from all of their supposedly blood and gore games, they removed blood effects.
Yeah, Call of Duty
Black
didn't
Ops.
have blood and gore in Black Ops.
No, I totally get that, but I
Um,
remember there's a couple violent games on the Wii. I remember that they're
sure.
But
relatively.
I think the biggest problem was that the Wii started off really, really strong, and then as people got more tired of the gimmick, it was what games are really on this console? You know?
if you're not a diehard Nintendo fan,
Yeah, if you didn't buy
the
every
whole thing.
AAA title
Even if
on
you
there.
are a die-hard Nintendo fan, you don't have much games there.
No.
Yeah.
You have Mario Kart and Mario Party, which
Oh.
are just series that are
That's what
always
went
fun,
down the hill,
no
though.
matter what.
It really just had AAA titles. if we're being
Mario
honest.
Party games were more fun on the GameCube.
Okay.
though.
But if we're being honest, out of the three consoles, I'd say party games is probably Wii. Mario Party, if you're sitting down
But
for...
what about Halo 3 as a party game?
You could just do that for it would never get stale.
It's MW2 for Xbox. I played just as much of both myself.
Yeah.
Depends on what you define as a party. If you're trying to find people that don't play video games, you're not going
Right.
to play
Yeah.
Halo.
Yeah,
Never
you're
mind.
gonna play the Wii.
That's
They're
not
gonna
true.
play Brawl.
I could convince somebody to play Halo.
Halo versus Mario Party.
But Mario Party on the Wii was not that successful.
You don't have to be really good at Mario Party, let's be honest.
Mario Party was successful on the Wii. It was one of the most successful
Really?
games on the console.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure 8 sold pretty well, and then there was 9.
Mario Party 8 was the 11th most selling game.
Really,
Yeah. I had 8.
I hated 8. I remember just like
8 was-
despising
And
that
Mario
game.
Party 9 was the 22nd most selling game.
Okay, I didn't like 9. The double
9.
car thing was not
I thought-
great.
Which one?
8 was the carnival, and
Yeah.
8 was pretty fun.
I
liked
did
it.
not like 8. I
At the
didn't
top
like
hat
the
guy,
Carnival.
yeah.
8 was just a very normal Mario Party game, just like 7, in
Yep.
my opinion, but not
I had
as
fun.
great as 4, 5, or 6.
I think the boards were not as good, but the games were fun. But 9, that whole double car thing was not good.
Nintendo's always like they're always like, let's do something more inventive.
I mean,
Let's do something more magical. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
lately it's been working for them. The Switch, after the Switch, they've been on a roll ever since the Switch came out.
Yeah, but in the Wii era, I don't think that paid off too well for them.
No, but
In
I mean,
sales it did.
I think it built the foundation for what they have today.
But one of the biggest selling points of the Switch immediately was that they were welcoming back all of those
Skyrim
third
on
parties
the
that
Switch.
ran away.
Yeah, I mean, once they
Biggest
stepped
selling
away,
point of the Switch,
One of
you
the
say?
biggest selling points of the Switch, especially for me, was that they had all of those logos that they had on one page, and it was Bethesda, and it was CD Projekt Red,
Oh, yeah,
all
that's a
these
big one.
companies that are coming out with games right now in increments
yeah,
that did not exist before that
Like,
on the Wii U.
Witcher 3 on the Switch is like it. I still can't believe it. Like it still feels like a dream. Like coming from the Wii U and coming from the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
I know they had they had Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U.
Yeah.
And they had games like they had the Batman Arkham
Assassin's
games.
Creed 3.
they just wrote the
Assassin's
same.
Creed
And
3.
people had played out those games so much by the time it came
Yeah,
out. Then.
but I don't know. The Wii. I think it really just hurt Nintendo's reputation.
That's funny. It's the only third-party developer that was like big with Nintendo was Ubisoft, and if you look, like they stuck
On the
with them.
Wii, were they big?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Like
sure.
what?
But they
The
even
Rabbids game.
Yeah, they
That was a
even
big-
didn't
On
give
the
them
Wii?
a lot
Was
of
it
their
Rayman?
main series games.
Yeah.
Rayman's
though.
But
Rayman's Ubisoft.
I think Rayman was on other consoles as well, though.
Yeah.
But if you look now, what's this on the Switch? You know, they stuck with them, and Nintendo gave them the IP of Mario to work on the Mario and Rabbids game, and that actually turned out to be the decent game.
An amazing
And it was-
game.
I enjoy that game.
Yeah. So like, obviously, with Ubisoft working with them, it was a benefit for both of them in the long run.
And Nintendo did have a reason to not like third parties as much. I mean, they've been bitten in the butt so many times. Sony, the PS2 was originally, not the PS2, the PlayStation 1 was originally licensed through Nintendo. They wanted them to make that, and they left.
I mean,
Just like Sega.
that's what killed the
afterwards,
console was the
or
lack of
before.
the third-party games. Like you don't have stuff releasing monthly for your console like the Xbox and PS3 did.
Yeah.
It's just dry. No one's gonna want to play it. No one
kinda
cares.
Hilarious that Nintendo and PlayStation wanted to work together on the first PlayStation, like was
Yeah.
going to the PlayStation, and then when that didn't work out, Nintendo ended up allying themselves with the CDI games.
Oh, yeah.
And they
See,
got,
I
like,
after
Hotel
that.
Excuse
Mario.
me,
Excuse
princess.
me. No, that was from the TV show.
Dark times.
Excuse me, Princess.
Yeah, that was from the...
That's from
Zelda
the
TV
Zelda
show.
TV show.
I thought it was CDI.
No,
No,
the CDI
that's
is like the
Bombs?
bombs. You want them, my friend?
What does the guy say on the carpet? I thought that's the same
Squadala!
thing.
We're off.
yeah.
I thought that was the same
Oh.
thing. But
No, it's not. How about a kiss? Like stuff like that, or Hotel
Oh
Mario.
boy, smooching time.
Dinner.
What are toasters? Toasters, toast. Like that was weird. That was some.
Some weird zany like Saturday cartoon stuff, man.
What was that? That was some weird.
It was a
fucking
fever dream
shit.
for games. that was some
And then
demented
YouTube just
landscape.
Made the whole
YouTube poop.
whole
Yeah.
full circle.
That was a whole era that if you look back on, you're like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened there?
But is there anything else we need to discuss about the Wii? I feel like we did a lot.
We're most of the bases here.
I think the last thing I want to say before we go into final thoughts is actually the Wiimote itself. And even though we people like say that it's not a good,
It wasn't remarkable.
I used that in a composition of mine, where there's this music program called Max MSP, and what you do with the Wiimote is that you can actually set, because it takes the axis is when you move the Wiimote. I used it and made it into a drum set, and it's really cool. So I had one or two Wiimotes, one in each hand, and the right hand was the hi-hat, and the left hand was the snare drum, and I could actually make music out of it, and you could press the buttons and you can get pitches.
I mean, and definitely it's fun for specific things like that. But I mean, who's going to be using it for that? You know?
Yeah, that's like something else.
I mean, it is really good at what it set out to do. It is very accurate,
Yeah.
and it's in the infrared sensors.
It did its job. I mean, I remember a million times having to hold the lighter for the controller, you know.
Well, that's just when you don't have a sensor bar. It works
Yeah.
fine if you had.
I remember the
piece
first time I
there.
saw that, I blew up.
I was like, what science? Running the Wiimote?
But
I mean, the Wii. I had fun with the Wii.
it's
Like,
just
I
the
don't regret
design
time.
wasn't really
Oh, of
remarkable in
course.
comparison to other console controllers, you know.
But notice how we're talking about the best-selling console of the three. It was the best-selling, and
It's true.
It put them in the hole. It was like they had lightning in a bottle, and it ran away. It got out.
Well, it's just it's they market it towards the family. That was it.
They
That was
always
the
have
problem.
a big gimmick, but they always
They
had the big gimmick overshadowing them, like in the Wii's case. But with the Switch now, like the whole just click.
I mean, they
But
only
that gimmick applies not to just kids. It applies to adults.
It also, it's not restraining. It doesn't matter how you make your game. You could that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you can take it on the go or not.
Yeah.
The game is the game still. They
mean-
can try to add some cool tie-ins to it, but they don't have to like they did with the Wiimote.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the Wii, despite being it was really marketed for one demographic. Despite saying it was a family-friendly console, it was for kids. The games were for kids.
Also, I just want to mention, like, playing Twilight Princess on the Wii, before you had that Wii Motion Plus thing, when you need, the gimmick was you need to swing your sword.
Yeah.
If you look at yourself playing that game, when you're swinging your sword, you have to swing the Wiimote, you're literally just, like, flailing your freaking
Oh,
arm
for Skyward
like an
Sword?
idiot.
Skyward
No,
Sword.
but not Skyward
Oh,
Sword,
yeah,
Twilight
before the
Princess.
Wii Motion Plus
Before
came,
Wii Motion
it
Plus.
was bad.
It was, like,
That's
you're
true.
just
Yeah.
Half the time it never registered.
winging it around
Yeah.
like an idiot.
I never had trouble with the pointer itself, like on the
The
screen.
pointer was accurate.
Like I could always get it to where I needed it to go as quickly as I needed to for the games, but when it came down to just registering which way you were moving before Wii Motion Plus, it was impossible.
Yeah.
I will say I had a huge problem with that with Dragon Quest Swords on there. I remember playing through so much of that game, and then I'd die because I slashed like horizontally instead of vertically when I definitely like hit it the right way. I was just like, wow, it's kind of a giant turn off, and I stopped playing it pretty much after that.
Yeah. Just tiny things like that take away from the game completely just because it was on the Wii.
Yeah.
You also couldn't play DVDs, and you also couldn't do like Blu-ray. You couldn't
Yeah.
do stuff like that unless you modded it. And
Yeah.
like, I don't want to count modding the Wii in here
That
because you can do a
is-
lot of fun stuff with when you mod your Wii.
Yeah.
I did. You can play like all sorts of stuff, but as a console by itself, compared to the PS3 and the 360, like,
It was the console you saw in everyone's living room but never got played.
I mean, it got played,
It
but
definitely did get
It
played.
definitely
it
got
doesn't
played.
get played. It's just, it's not. It doesn't compare.
In
to,
lieu
like,
of other choices, it's not the one you're going to choose.
It doesn't compare to sitting down with your friends and playing Halo 3.
The other problem is that it lacked hardware in comparison to the other consoles.
It was still
Like,
using
couldn't-
AV cords.
You
yeah.
couldn't.
Wasn't graphically impressive.
wasn't-
Oh yeah, it didn't even
You couldn't-
HDMI.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
What the heck?
At the time, it wasn't the fact that
HDMI.
not only was Nintendo no way gonna ever let like other good third party games be on it. Like the Switch is doing a lot better now in that area. So it was that on top of the fact that their consoles couldn't play the games that were popular and coming out at the time when that people wanted
Yeah.
to play.
But that's funny because I believe the GameCube was actually the most graphically powered out of the Xbox and PS2.
Yeah, you know what they did though?
They took the same card and put it in the Wii.
But you know what else they did? Restricted the GameCube to compact discs.
Yeah.
And you know what's a lot more expensive to get a game made into? Compact discs. So the third party company didn't want those either.
Harder to pirate though. Compact disc.
Very much so.
Harder to pirate.
Except for the emulators.
Oh, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you can
ROM
get
of
all
anything.
yeah, but back in the day, like, harder to pirate.
Like we've been actually kind of like shit stomping the Wii right now, but and we've said some good things about it.
And we jerked it off pretty good earlier.
Yeah.
so.
And we've been saying the whole time it's the most selling of the consoles.
I have great memories.
It
with
won.
Wii.
So what?
Mario Kart Wii. We didn't even mention Mario Kart Wii, which is a lot of
The
fun.
Wii steering wheel. oh
Oh
god.
my
dude.
God.
Second most selling game, Mario Kart Wii.
Yeah.
What was one? It was Wii Sports, right? And then what's 3?
Let me check.
Was that Brawl?
I can see real quick.
I bet it'd be Brawl.
Brawl was
Wii Sports Resort,
okay.
and then New Super Mario Bros.
Oh,
Wii,
yeah.
and then Wii Play.
New
Those are the
Super
top
Mario
5.
Bros.
We
was
play
fun.
the tank game.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
game was fun.
Weird game.
They're fun games.
I think we should start wrapping up the Wii, but that was a terrible joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that was
definitely
pretty
was.
terrible.
Come on, you guys, that was a good one.
I don't even get it.
Wrapping up the Wii.
real group of intellectuals here.
I think we should stop talking about the Wii.
Anyways,
So
like
the,
final thoughts.
The Wii was a great console commercially. It just didn't appeal to gamers anymore. It just
Yeah.
lost the respect. And
No-
the
no
360,
games.
the 360 gained the respect. The PS3 gained the respect, and they had followings.
So here's what I want to do is that we'll start with Bilot, and you'll order the console. So 3 being like the.
What do you think is the
last
best
place.
console?
In 2019, 360. PS3, Wii.
So 360 is the best.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So are we saying if you had to pick one console to
It's
own
it's
today, which
it's
one
your
would it be?
personal thing. Is that what you actually rate?
As a 21-year-old male in 2019, Xbox 360, then PS3, then Wii.
Could you explain just a little bit?
Oh, for sure. Just don't think I can get a lot of fun out of Wii games as much as I can any other version of the games that are on the Wii. So I'd play the N64 Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Over the Wii version of those games. And honestly, Super Mario Bros. 3 is probably better than New Super Mario Bros. To me, too. So,
That's respectable. The only reason why I ask is because we have you and I have a lot of good memories on the Wii, and it's just when we play Strikers or not Strikers, Sluggers.
oh, Sluggers.
That
yeah.
like that.
That is a game that I can't get anywhere else, but it's definitely a game that is just a blip on the radar compared to how much of an impact I feel like the time we had with like Halo
Yeah,
and
and
like
I
Time Splitters back in the day was.
it's just I totally respect that. And why would you put the PS3 above that when you had the PS3? Why
yeah.
why would you put that above the Wii?
Specifically, just because I feel like there's experiences on the PS3 that I still haven't had. There's just a lot of like more obscure like Japanese, not exactly JRPGs, but more like JRPGs that I really, really want to play still.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if I was gonna get more time on them from this day onward, I'd probably pick them in that order.
Okay, so David, what's your order?
I had it set going in here, and discussing it definitely opens up my mind to the PS3 a little more, right? I had all 3, but I'm still gonna rate Xbox 360 as number 1, Wii as number 2, and then PS3 as number 3. The PS3 we said that has the best single player experience, and I do agree. I think the story of The Last of Us and Uncharted and God of War is undeniably perfect. There's little flaws, but compared to the other single player experiences to the other consoles, it doesn't even touch. The Wii, we're Nintendo fanboys here, so we had a Wii U, Wii, Switch. We've had all of them as a friend group. At least one person has had one.
Oh yeah.
And the Wii,
I've owned them all.
we've all had. Exactly. The Wii was. We play Melee on it still. We have the GameCube, but we usually use the Wii.
Oh yeah. I do still use my Wii. I still get mileage out of it playing GameCube games because I think it does that pretty well.
But that's like the weak point of the Wii and why it's not number 1 is that we use it for the GameCube element more than probably the Wii.
Yeah, so why not just use a GameCube?
Because the Wii does both.
Oh yeah,
There's-
and I have
That's
mine
a
modded,
valid
so
point.
like there's a
it's-
whole lot of reasons why I carry that one around.
And one of the reasons why this friend group started was to play Brawl on the Wii. That was there's a lot of connection to it. And then of course, number one is the Xbox 360. The Xbox
course,
360, it's perfect to me. It's my favorite console.
Okay, so Kyle, what's your ranking?
When it comes down to it, I rank these based off of what games they have, and what makes a good game for me. And when I look for that, I look in artistic choices. I look at single player experiences, multiplayer, every facet of it. And while PS3 has more of those, I think it has better single player experiences overall. I've found not as many, but a good amount of those on Xbox too. ODST, Transistor, Bastion, tons of great single player experiences that I'm always going to remember. And while I have huge love for Journey and all the weird indie games they put on PS3, are going to have to put Xbox at the top for me. I just can't deny that the countless hours I've put into Halo, Gears of War, Fable. I mean, this is stuff I would never take back. So I'm going to put Xbox at the top, PS3 second, and Wii at the bottom.
Alex, do you have ranking?
In my personal rankings, I can only base this off. I haven't played a lot of PS3 games, so unfortunately it doesn't go at the bottom. So it's going to go Xbox at the top. Xbox for me was a pretty great console. It was the first of my own video game console that I got to own. I played GameCube when I was like really young, but I had that taken away from me for quite a long time. So when I in 8th grade, when I got my first Xbox 360, and the first game I got with it was Halo 3. You can imagine
Back to Halo 3.
how great that felt. And then on top of it, Skyrim came out, and Skyrim was a game that me and my dad played together. To the point where we each wanted to play it so bad that we got another 360 just so that we wouldn't have to keep trading off. And then I have my own other favorite games I like playing. Like, we didn't talk about Skate 3 at all, and I think that is a masterpiece of a game, personally.
yeah.
That is a beautiful game to me, of how broken and how replayable it is.
That's true. That's true.
Skate games,
Things
would
like
be their
that,
own topic one
grinding
day.
out an unholy amount of Dark Souls 1 as well. A lot of attachment to that console still. And honestly, like, at this point, I wouldn't even play a PS3 over a Wii. Like, I would still play a Wii to play Melee, to play other GameCube games, and play Project M now, versus, like, I have no reason to go to a PS3, to be honest.
So Wii, then PS3?
Yeah.
Same order as me.
Yep.
So, I guess I'm the final person that's got to give his ranking. And I'm honestly finding this really difficult to do. I'm going to have to go with 360 first, like everyone else. But when it comes to the second and third, even though I talked a lot of crap about the Wii, I have so many good memories with the Wii. I have so many good memories with the games. I have much better memories with the Wii. So personally, I love the Wii more than the PS3. But I think the PS3 is a better system. So personally, I would say 360, Wii, PS3. But if I were to rank what was the better system, 360, PS3, then Wii.
I agree with it. That's how I would do it.
Because, I mean, and I do have some great experience in the PS3, like the Yakuza games. I love those games.
I think the one thing that defines this era is that none of these consoles were bad.
No.
They had some
Absolutely
very
not.
big weaknesses, but like
Not being able to navigate home menu without a Wiimote.
Each of them gave you a reason to buy them.
We did crap talk a lot the Wii, but it was pretty great. Like, there's some great memories.
It was amazing. It was I think it was a giant landmarker of like future consoles. It was like it paved the way.
if we think about other eras of gaming, let's talk about now. We have the PS4 and the Switch. And
I don't think
the Wii U.
You have an Xbox One.
I don't have an Xbox One.
Oh, I thought you
no
still
one
your
here
brother
has.
does.
I mean, my brother does, but the Xbox One is not as good.
Sorry, Xbox fans. I love the 360. I love it, but I don't own an Xbox One.
No.
I don't own a PS4, but I own a Switch.
And then we
Just putting
take
it out
we
there.
take a look at the other generation, right? With the Xbox, GameCube, and the PlayStation 2. it was still divided, right? I had 2, you had 3 or 2. Sean, I don't know what you had, and I don't know what you had, but in this era, we can totally say that we had a big collection of all 3 of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, by the end of high school, I had all 3.
And even if you didn't, like Bilot's case, he still played it more than the other 2 consoles.
I didn't have 360, and I still say it's the best console.
It's just
It's the people's console.
It just hit the mark at the right time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is there anything else you guys got to say?
No, I think we kind of covered it all.
I'd say let us know what you think. I'm curious to see what people have as their own rankings.
Yeah, honestly, put it in the comics.
I mean, obviously these are just opinions, so I mean, I'm sure people are going to disagree with us.
Yeah, what? Dude,
No, sorry.
can you
Yeah,
please-
sorry.
All right.
I'd love to see these comments. And we're also gonna put our email in the description, so you guys can email us about anything you
With
want us
your
to talk
angry
about.
disagreements about our
Yeah.
trashing of the Wii.
Oh yeah, call me dumb. I want to hear it.
Yeah. So you want to lead us out here, Sean?
Yeah, sure. We're the guys with beards. I'm Sean,
Bilot.
Alex.
David.
Kyle.
and you guys have a great night.
We'll see you next week.